All right. I'm nailing the over under for the COVID virus at 17,300. Today's April 1st, and it's not a April Fool's joke. I'm not making a joke. It just happened. I think that this whole situation is an April Fool's joke, but we'll cover that in a moment because you are not stopping to think about what's going on here. Now, let me explain what the over under is, okay? If Las Vegas were open right now and I live down in Alabama now. I chose to move here. I'm a city boy from Atlanta, and I love following sports, and Alabama is so rabid about the Tide and the Tigers, War Eagle. If they played today, and the betting odds would be a 70-point over under, what would that mean? 70-point over under. Okay, what the odds makers are saying is that it's pretty much likely that the score between the two teams, when you add them up, will hit 70 points, and you can bet on whether that's too low or that's too high. So if you put $100 on over 70, you're betting that both teams will score a total points of more of 71 or more. If you're betting the under, you're betting that it's going to be less than that. So in this particular case here, we came up with a consensus in our household last night that the over-under for the COVID-19 deaths, one is too many. It's all tragic. Please hear me out because you're so rattled you can't think straight. I'm here to help you think straight. I'm taking the under. I think it's going to be down around 13,000, 13,500. But you tell me at the bottom of this video whether you're taking the over and under, okay? So let me minimize me because this doesn't need to be about me. But who I am is I'm a 65-year-old. I've seen this stuff. I see it coming all the time. It's like waves on the beach. They just keep coming, thank the Lord. And yesterday, Rush Limbaugh was in the news because he spoke the truth. Now, look, I do at this point care what you think about Rush Limbaugh. I've been listening to him ever since he came on the radio. And I've disagreed with him. And I've been wrong every single time. Okay? So I don't know how you live with yourself being wrong all the time, because everything he says can be proven. And I'm sure some little bitty thing he's been wrong about. But in general, I think he's right about this. All he's doing is observing with his eyes. You observe with your eyes. Don't just take my word for anything here. Don't take anybody's word for anything. In fact, I say cut off all the media. All the media has proven that they can't do anything but hype shit. Anyway, he said that they've built, that there's not that many people in the local hospitals. To reinforce that, our mayor, my mayor, over in Mobile, across the bay, came out the other day and said that the local hospital is about 50%. Well, this is the peak of the flu season, folks. 50% is probably about where it's supposed to be. And you know what? They don't build hospitals to sit around 90% unoccupied all the time. They know that a certain amount of people are going to get sick from different diseases and different kinds of accidents. And God knows in big cities, gunshot wounds. So they have to allow for that. But right now, 50%. And that's after today's April the 1st. I don't know that it's going to get that much worse. A little bit, but not a whole lot. So in places like New York, we have built field hospitals and brought in the Mercy ship, okay? I think they've got a big convention center there called the Javits Center, and they built a field hospital in that. Well, one article rebuked Rush Limbaugh for saying what he said, and they cited having these field hospitals. Folks, I hadn't seen a single person in any of the field hospitals yet. There might be some, but I hadn't seen them. Please show them to me. Pardon me. So I think that this whole thing is overhyped. They kept saying it was going to, in the beginning, of millions of people were going to die. Then yesterday, 200,000. Today, it was 100,000. I'm saying it's probably going to be 13,000. The over-under as set by my household is 17,300. I want you, again, take the time to go down here and like the video, follow the stream. I'll do more videos. This is my, and you'll be able to get updates on it. But let's look at some facts together here rather than getting hyperbolic about all this. See, I've already lived through, and you can help me out with this. You can write this down there, too. Ozone holes. We were all going to die from the ozone holes. Now it's all about climate change. Oh, my God. Obama came out yesterday. What a dump. Obama, focus on me, son. You're a dumbass. You're either a dumbass or you're just wanting to take over the world. That ain't happening, bro. Climate change is a complete hoax, other than the fact that the climate does change. Okay, it changes. It's going to change up and down, left and right, sideways. But it's not going to be the same. But the tragedy is we're missing out on some of the most beautiful climate you can ever see. I'll give you a little peek at. That's a live video of a local beach here, folks. But we'll come back to that in a minute. Seeing Suds. You need to go look up their webcam. So in the news today, deaths, U.S. COVID-19. You got to look it up. Coronavirus updates. Live. UN warns of global instability and conflict. UN says pandemic the most challenging crisis since World War II. I thought climate change was. Come on, folks. Get your story straight here. This is a freaking damn hoax to get you all upset so you'll give away money and freedom. And so far, even my man Trump has fallen for this shit. But, he's just been put in a position where even he had to crumble under this weight. Here's the number. And let me digress, because let me just say this. I can remember in very recent future how many people were going to die from Ebola. 1 million. That's what they said. Do you know how many actually died? One was too many, but 11,300 or 11,800. So we freaked the whole damn world out over Ebola, going to kill 1 million in, I don't know whether it was in Nigeria or here, but there's going to be 1 million people die from it. Didn't happen. Then there was Zika virus. And the minute I heard it, I started telling my family, Zika Freaka. And that's all they're going to do is Zika Freaka all day long. And they did it for months until they figured out it friggin' didn't kill everybody like they said it was going to. What else has happened? It's just recent. I mean, remember when they brought the Ebola, the guy that had the Ebola, I think they brought 2 of them back to the United States. They had helicopters following the ambulances down the street. Folks, when you watch that shit, it gets you bent out of shape. Stop watching it. Turn off the TV. Don't watch TV anymore after this. There is no death or tragedy or real news out there left to watch. They'll show it as a news flash and then you turn it off. If a train wrecks, you want to know about it, but you'll be able to see it in real time and not have to listen to people explain to you what just happened. All right, let's talk about Alabama here. This was a number that was flashed up on the screen last night. It's actually gone up. But there were 2 numbers here that kind of caught my attention. We'll talk about this in a second. You've got reported deaths, and then you've got died from illness. Okay? In other words, evidently there are people who have been reported as dying from the coronavirus, but once they actually tested their blood serum, the number goes down. And so it's 17, okay? I don't know what percentage that is. Let's find out. So you got 17 actuals out of 24 reported, 70%. So I'm telling you, there's that beautiful beach all by itself. Let me do this. Let me hit the control here. Let me turn it to the east. So you can see, I have bad internet here. I'm out in the country. Let me hit play. There you go. Got to hit play. There you go. There's nobody there. That's the pier. We like to go fishing on pier. See, the sun's just coming up good. That's to the east. Isn't it beautiful, folks? Let's look to the west. It'll make you sick. This is what's going to make you sick. You're sitting in a high-rise apartment building in New York City watching this when your ass could be sitting down here. Now, you don't have to be in big, giant clumps of people, but if you're going to get sick, it's going to be in that office building. It's going to be in that apartment. That's just the bottom line, folks. The disease called the flu always goes down by this time of year. This week is the peak week for the flu season. Look at this. This is crazy. One guy out on the beach and there's nothing to pick up. So let's go back to the number. So we've had in the United States reported 4,000 deaths. I'm telling you, probably a third of the 30% is probably not COVID virus. It's just being labeled that way until the blood serum test. They had symptoms. The reason they would always state the higher number, like right here, right here, is numerous. Is probably they probably get more money for doing it. I mean, it's all about the money. Follow the money. Okay, so here's the real facts, though. Okay, in this country, 2.8 million of us, look around, are going to die this year. It just happens. That's 864 people out of every 100,000 people are going to die this year. And most of them are not going to die from the flu, but a whole bunch of them are going to die from respiratory illnesses that include the flu and include COVID virus. When I had some spring breakers down here a couple weeks ago, and I went around the room, these were all 19 and 20-something year olds, and I asked them, I said, how many people do you think died last year from the flu? How many? I'm asking you that now. Last year, even at this late date, you really ought to know this number. And if you don't, no wonder you're bent out of shape. No wonder you're flipping out over this non-crisis. Every flu season should be labeled a crisis, but it shouldn't be labeled a crisis that we shut down the world for, and it's the economy and working and things like that. It's always too many. Well, their answer was in the 200s. I'll tell you now. I hope you've written down your number because it's going to flatten you when you find out in a moment. And we're going to use the CDC numbers, not Bob Rutledge's numbers, not Rush Limbaugh's numbers. We're going to use the CDC numbers. Okay. But 650,000 people died from heart disease. And I do remember hearing about this the other day, that for the first time, cancer went below heart disease because we are finally beating back lung cancers from smoking cigarettes, self-inflicted. Well, 90% of heart disease is self-inflicted too. You see how skinny I am, how little exercise I get. I'm 65. I'm a target for heart disease. Come on. But I'm also a target for accidents because I drive a car, ride a motorcycle. Here's lower respiratory diseases. Okay, this is where the flus come in. 160,000 people are going to die year in, year out. It ain't going to matter who. Obama could be president. Trump could be president. Hell, I don't know. If Nancy Pelosi was president, that number would probably go up because I'd be putting a plastic bag over my head and die from a respiratory disease real quick. Or stroke out one. Maybe that one of those two numbers would probably go up. Here's influenza and pneumonia. So I'm mistook. Let's add those two together. 220,000 almost. 215,000 are going to die from respiratory diseases. I'm sure that that's a lot to do with asthma. That number probably is going up because people living too much indoors probably. Anyway, now let's look at the flu. This is the number. Now, flu has a season. October through really, I think the end of April or something like that will be the end of flu season because it just doesn't happen during the summer. The one that happened during the Obama administration, the swine flu, was a freak, and this one might be a freak too. But even then, as freaky as that one was, it killed 12,000 people. So that's kind of where I'm getting my over-under number. I'm saying this is probably equal to the swine flu. 38 to 54 million people this year right now have reported having the flu. Okay? Remember that morning you woke up and you had that crick in your neck and your ass was dragging and you couldn't get up and go to work, but you went anyway? You probably had mild symptoms of the flu. You said you slept wrong in the bed. You said you need a new mattress. You need a new My Pillow. Buy a new My Pillow from Mr. Lindell. He's a great American. But it might have been the flu. This year, I'm going with the high numbers from now on. 26 million people have already visited the hospital for the flu this year. Okay? Have visited a doctor. Hospitalizations as high as 700,000 already this year. And now we're getting, I remember this number earlier in the year was 21,000. It's going up. The final number is probably going to be somewhere in between these two numbers. You know, it's probably going to be 40,000 people die from the flu this year. Every single one of them is a tragedy. None of them are to be made fun of. I'm not making fun of the deaths. I'm making fun of how we're destroying the most incredible economy God has ever gave a human being to live in. And we took it for granted, and we let these people, the same people I might add, that said Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and talked us into going into war. The same people that when I was a child, I was the last year to get the draft number and it wasn't called up, was sent off to Vietnam, and 51,000, I think that's the number, 51,000 men that could have been fathers. They should all be there's 51,000 people that should be grandfathers right now are not, because they were tragically killed by people who knew better. Sent them, our experts sent them off to war. I bid on it too. I would have gone because I believed in what people told me on TV that were the experts in their field. Okay? They're not. They get paid to say these things. They get importance out of saying these things. We still have to use our brains as to whether to accept the data or not. These are real numbers here. No matter what we do when we get out of bed next year, between 25 and 55 or 60,000 people are going to die from the flu next year. I'm predicting it right now. Okay? I'm telling you that the over-under on the coronavirus is only going to be 17,300. Okay? And we should be sitting here at this beach right now. This is insanity. The insanity, the part that makes me sick, is not being down at the beach right now. You should be at the beach. You should not be cramped up. I don't want a bunch of New Yorkers coming down to Alabama. You are obnoxious people. Nobody really cares about you other than Jesus. So let's end with that. Jesus loves you. You better take this time to start reading about his Bible and his love for you and the plans he has for your life, and quit killing yourself over made up crap. There is no climate crisis. There is no influenza of any kind crisis. There just isn't. These are things we always need to deal with, but it's not a crisis. Okay, hope this settles things. Again, keep following this number here. It's just not going to happen. Again, 13,000 is my pick. I'll put it down in the thing below. The over-under is 17,300. Put it down in the comments below. Thanks.